Hugo Hollas grew up in High Hill and went on to play in the NFL for the New Orleans Saints during the 1970s. He moved back to Schulenburg later and launched a successful career in business before dying at the young age of 49 years old in 1995. His brother-in-law Carl Duncan and brother Richard Rico Hollas recently wrote a book about his life. We're proud to honor Hugo as the Fayette County Record's first posthumous Athlete of the Week.
You know, a lot of people's been asking us why we wrote this book, and I had written a book previously about my college baseball coach, and it was a story of them growing up on the farm and then achieving success through sports. And I realized that Hugo was the same story. He grew up speaking German out in High Hill, didn't play organized football till the 8th grade, and then had a great college and pro career. So I enlisted Rico, his brother, to help me write this book.
Yeah, and I sat on it for about 2 years before I decided to go ahead and do it, and it was really a venture of love, really, and it was really good. I could keep writing on about him. Yeah, Hugo was a unique individual. He was a good athlete, but something drove him to achieve, the success that he had, and that the book kind of chronicles that and kind of delves into what actually made him do what he did, because he got to the NFL in a kind of a unique way. He didn't go right from college. He basically sat out for 2 years before he actually.
Because he didn't get drafted, he got cut by the Cowboys.
Yeah,
so
elementary school, Catholic school there at High Hill. Went there for 7 years, and then he went to St. Rose here in Schuler 1 year, and then 4 years at Bishop Forest. They actually won the state championship his sophomore and senior year. And he should have won it could have won it his junior year as well. I mean, they had a good enough record, but they couldn't compete because of some rule about joining a different division. Anyway, but yeah, and he also had success with baseball too. They won the state championship in baseball his junior year. So he had success here.
And he didn't have many scholarship offers. Tell him how he got to Rice.
Didn't have any scholarship offers to note of, and Louis Konetka, who was his coach, played at Rice for Jess Neely back in 1939 and 1940, and so Coach Konetka called Jess Neely up and said, "I got this boy that can play for you." And Jess Neely said, "Okay, we'll offer him a scholarship," and they did, and it was up to Hugo to prove him right, and he did. He had a really good career at Rice. And the team wasn't very successful, but he was.
Well, he got, when he graduated from Rice, he didn't get drafted, but he went to the Cowboys. And he went to training camp, but he had hurt his hand playing baseball at Rice, and they sent him back to Dallas, and Tom Landry cut him, and that gave him some incentive. Tell them what he said.
Yeah, basically Coach Landry said, you need to find you some other occupation because you're not NFL caliber. And he said, "Coach, you're wrong. I'm gonna make it." And he did.
And so he basically was teaching school, and one of the guys that he had played against was a coach of a minor league team, which was the Richmond Roadrunners. So he gave Hugo an opportunity. Hugo, that was a minor league team of the New Orleans Saints. So Hugo excelled in that, and so out of his success, he got a contract with the Saints. And his first year with the Saints, he became a starter, and he became one of their best players. But unfortunately, he had an injury that cut his career short. He was one of the most popular players. As I said before, he became a fan favorite. He was one of the best players on defense, and one of the things, one of his specialties is sometimes on a pass play that he would blitz and tackle the quarterback. Sometimes a risky play, but the fans loved it, and they would all say blitz, blitz, blitz when they wanted him to go.
Especially as a safety.
From the safety position, absolutely. After the NFL, he actually played a year in that old football, World Football
League until they folded, and then it was over. So he had to get back to their regular way of life, and then that happens to a lot of players that are famous or have been in the spotlight for a number of years. They kind of have to go through a little I guess a reorganization of their life or something like that, because, you know, they're not pursued anymore. They're not, you know, they don't see their name in the paper anymore. So he had to go through a little bit of that too. But then he and his family actually moved back to Schulenburg in 1976, and so he started, you know, had to get a job, and he did managed a restaurant for a year.
Roy Buchek.
And then that wasn't really his calling, so then he went to work for another Buchek as Bill Buchek, and he did that for several years until he wanted to go in business for himself, and so he bought a Herb Rody's
Herb
Insurance.
Brody Insurance, yeah, that's how he got here. They probably remember.
Yeah. And so he did that in real estate, and really, you know, became successful.
And he was a big, just a larger than life figure here in town.
Absolutely. Everybody knew Hugo. I first met Hugo. I was a marketing rep for a big insurance company, and I called him Hugo to get to write business with our company. And I was an old ball player, and he was an old ball player. And my sister-in-law was divorced and had 2 small boys, and Hugo was divorced and had 2 small boys. And I set them up a blind date, and they ended up getting married. And so my company wanted to move me to Baltimore. And I figured with my Texas accent, I'm not going to do good up there. So Hugo said, well, come down here. And we bought the Jack Brazier Agency in Weimar. And that's how Hollis Duncan Insurance became about.
Hugo died at a relatively young age, 49 years old, in 1995.
And as we've discussed before, it had to be with something playing professional football, because players that played back in the 70s are dying in their 50s. And now, you know, if somebody gets their bell rung, I mean, it's any kind of concussion, they're out for 3 or 4 days. Back then, they just went back in. And you thought that too. You read something about a study.
Yeah, there was a study done that showed the life expectancy of ex-pro, ex-NFL players was like in the high 50s, while they compared it to baseball players. Baseball players, their life expectancy was at least 10 years longer. And then, of course, that was, you know, Hugo died at 49. You really don't know what the long term would have been, because he didn't get old enough to really. I mean, he could have had other problems crop up later on. But you know, he did die young. It was very sudden, and it had to do with his lifestyle probably more than anything else too.
Well, I think it had to do a lot to him playing in the NFL.
That
Because all your brothers lived to
yeah.
in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Well, we're proud to honor Hugo as our Fayette County Records Athlete of the Week for this week. And everybody can read way more about this story in the new book that has just come out. And we're going to try to get it at the Fayette County Record Office so people can buy it there. Where else can folks buy this book?
Well, we have you know, if they email me, I can send them an order form.
Okay.
And it's richardhollas@hotmail.com.
Okay.
Simple, no periods or nothing. And we'll get back in touch with them and tell them how they can pay for it, and we can send it to them if we need to. We can get them to it, but we also, like I say, we'll have it here. I think it's going to be at the Hollas Insurance Agency.
Okay.
I think they're going to be some there. We're talking about the Schulenburg Sticker Office. We're talking about the Fayette County Record Office. It'll be around, but I'll just get a hold of us, and if we need to print more, we'll print more. Want to get it out.
Very good. Well, it's so good hearing from y'all guys, and thanks for spreading the story.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
We
Absolutely.
really appreciate it, pal.
Thank you.